Clash of Clans podcast, OG, episode 76. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Scotty827, joined live in studio by the biggest of the bees, Big B. I don't know.
He's a big old bee.
I've been running low on the introductions lately. I think Swims was the fish with the biggest wish. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I get into the to roll. Welcome to the podcast. Big B. Big B is a podcast host of the Clashuals, right? Is it? I pronounce it weird in my mind every time I do Clashuals, right?
Yeah, it's like casual, but with an L, so it's Clashual.
Yeah, I have a weird thing with
And
names.
I guess distinction. Former host.
Former host.
We don't record.
When was the last time you recorded?
Years ago. I
Was it
think.
years?
2.5 years ago now. I think 2023. I think.
Well, what have you been up to in the meantime? It's weird that like 2023 in the real world doesn't seem like a long time, but 2023 in the Clash world seems like a long time to me, anyways.
2.5 town halls ago. we were talking about, is Town Hall 16? Is it gonna be? What is it? Never got around to talking about that really. And just a couple months in.
So what are you thinking about Town Hall 16? No.
Yeah. Let's pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
No, I've not been doing podcasting. Although I still miss it. You know, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was just
stop the podcast, save the marriage.
Well, yeah, it was the time commitment, but that along with everything else, you know, just I always had the joke of like real life interrupting clash time, hobby time. And how dare you have a job and do other stuff? Like you got commitments and podcasts to do. Come on.
I know. So. How much do you think you were spending like every week on doing the podcast stuff?
Like time wise?
Yeah.
I don't know. This that's a blended question because we definitely we took some breaks when we were recording just because, we had to. I say we had to. I had to. My co-hosts were pretty much they were free all the time, but I was the one who had time restrictions, or at least after a while I did. But we recorded like the world's longest Clash podcast episodes. We would just get on and talk and talk and talk, and I think we had some episodes that went almost like 3 hours long.
Wow!
So
that was super easy to do.
Well, yeah. You can just. I'm a talker too by nature, so it's just stuff just keeps coming out. Yeah. But I think that was the pain point, I guess, on some of my free times because we were always recording on weekends or evenings and stuff, and it's like prime time to like do family stuff or be there for everyone else, and everyone's like you got your headphones on, you're recording a podcast on another Friday night. Like the first 20 episodes or so we did every one of them Friday night. Like that was our deal. We did Friday night, we did it live, we streamed it on Twitch. So it was a big event, and like every week. And then eventually my wife was like, "Can we go do something on a Friday night?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, is that an eating out night?" Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be awesome to do like a straight up like Friday night or like a Saturday night show, just because I don't know, like having like an all week to kind of prepare and then do it as a show, like a live show. I think that'd be really fun.
It's funny you say words like prepare, because I think one of the things that I didn't say frustrated me, but I never got over with the particular podcast that I did is that in my mind before we started doing it, there would be like a constant week leading up of preparing of like topics, just sending DMs to the co-hosts back and forth, like, "Hey, let's do this, do that," and then over time, like we didn't. And most Friday nights, we would just kind of roll it out there and be like, "All right, here's last minute. Here's some things to talk about tonight," and then press play and go. So we I don't want to say famously, but I think to like our 12 or 15 listeners, they were very used to all right, these guys aren't planning. They're not planning here.
There's they're rolling. Well, you kind of have to. I mean, it does get to be like there's a lot of stuff to do that you don't really think about. Just like that you record the editing, the getting a hold of people, like all that stuff, and then by the time you get to it, like I'll have lists or I'll be thinking about things all week, and then I get to the show and I blank out. So I normally try to keep a list, and when I first started back, I had a notebook, and it was like leading up to it all week long, and it's like, oh look, there's episode OG episode da da da, and eventually it's just like, what's that bullet point that is kind of the big thing in that air, and if I'm really lucky, I've got a couple hours to download and catch up on any of the big particulars, like some of the YouTubers, like I think about like judo's videos when I watch a little bit later on. It's like then I catch like the particular something, like kind of a side note that um makes me think or whatnot, I guess. But
Well, interestingly enough, when we would occasionally have guests on the podcast, and almost every time we did that, we would have like a I don't know, like a list of topics, almost like a run sheet, and we would always kind of make it seem to the guests like, oh, we do this every week. So this is kind of what we've got going for this week. And then the weeks when it was, just me and Clash Fan Nine, or the three of me and him and Zero Remorse, we were winging it most of the time. Like even if we had a list of topics, like we'd get 15, 20 minutes in, and we would just forget all the topics and just go.
did you guys do did you guys do call-ins or anything like?
Like, so not intentionally. In fact, that was listen, our my particular podcast, um, it was born out of just like chaos and conflict. Like so someone I don't remember if it was GCBC or someone called us like the first take of Clash podcast because at the time, First Take was this show on ESPN that had Stephen A. Smith and
Oh,
Skip Bayless, and they took opposing stances on everything just so they could argue. And it was a popular show just because it was two guys arguing about sports all the time. And we were joked about as just being the dysfunctional like arguing Clash podcast all the time.
why why
So
why is the surreal life? Do you remember that one with like the celebrities like in a house?
yeah, yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I don't know why that's popping into my head. It's like
We were the mad real world. That's what we were.
yeah. Well, what have you been doing since? I guess I can say that Big B has been a member House of L since I think it was like February, wasn't it? February, early
Yeah,
March.
it was
Um,
February.
that you came and has been kicking ass, taking names ever since. Slides in, smashes some
That's it.
stuff, and then moves on to his other accounts, I guess. Um,
Yeah. Listen, after I don't know, years and years, and like the year that we did the podcast, also the same year, like I tried streaming on Twitch for a little while, and it was a lot. And Town Hall 15 was going on during that whole time frame, and Town Hall 15 was like the least fun town hall ever because
that's what I hear.
it was so defensively tough, like in its heyday. And the sad part is now, like you play it and you're like, hell's everyone crying about?
Yeah.
But when it launched, like it was just like they've nerfed the monolith into oblivion. Like its first iteration, it sucked. And I mean, it was tough to get success, and like we trudged through topics and stuff, and I think that's part. I don't want to say part. It's a small part of the reason why we were just there was always arguments and stuff on our show. Is because it was just kind of a generally I don't want to say unhappy, but it was a controversial time with Clash. Um, and we were just talking through it the whole time, but um,
What was the
after all of that, I decided like I spent a ton of money on the game back then. A lot of that was to have show bases for the stream or to have the best and brightest, fanciest stuff. I had all the skins and everything. And I was just like in a spending pattern. So I bought everything all the time. And once I finally broke of that, like I stopped stressing about the game. So since I've stopped doing all that podcasting and streaming, or at least attempting to stream, I play it very, very relaxed. And that's
Mm.
why it's funny when you say like, oh, he's been over here kicking ass. Like I put a little bit of effort, but not a lot. Not near as much as I used to. And like I don't do near as much in like planning or strategizing, like attacking. Like my goal on most days and most wars is let me try to find the most success with the least amount of effort possible. Um,
I remember you saying
and
something like that in Discord, and I said something back like, "Well, if there's anything I can do to help you do less and to do more of the less minimum," because I think you were like the top in CWL that time or something. And I'm like, "Well, it's working."
I
So
I lucked my way into a 20-star CWL one time, and I remember like going into the last hit. I looked at the clan rank as like how everyone had done for the week because we were having a good week, and I was like, holy crap! I go, I've only missed one attack this week, and so then all of a sudden I started feeling pressure for the last one, like, oh, you got a chance, man. Finish at the top of the leaderboard, and then I remember telling myself, don't overthink this, dude. Just click attack like you normally do. It's worked for you the whole week. Just do it. So I did it. Like I went and found a base hit attack like as soon as I could. Like don't think, just do it.
yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, how the hell did I even do
I
that?
got to do that all the time. Yeah, when I think it was Warpig that I was talking to, and just how I've been overthinking things. Uh, or no, it was Swim. I was talking to him about it, and ever since then, so I mean, I guess it's only been a week, but I really have. I noticed like in the clan that if I am hitting my base, for example, I get worse after a little bit. Like I get about three, and then I realized last night 3 is my limit, and I need to change it up because I just start kind of in that one pattern. Um, and so looking at those things fresh is like super important, and maybe I think it might be better for me to do it without that sketch plan, I guess. Like in the
Listen, I have long, and this goes back to even when there was a time when Town Hall 13 was the top town hall that I was on this, I would say, competitive team. We weren't like a 5v5 team, but I was in a
you
clan
got
and
the
we
tattoo.
yeah.
No.
Well, we did some of those like leagues that had like mixed breakdowns,
Yeah.
just because it was a lot of fun. But I mean, during that time, I spent a lot of time planning, and I played with some guys who had done really like hardcore competitions. They were always trying to coach and go through it. And I remember time and time again, like it was like there's a point to where you overanalyzed and you psyched yourself out, or you made such a great plan that when something went wrong, you just you didn't have a good redirect plan. And after doing that for a while,
Start screaming.
like I landed on like, all right, if I don't have a good idea within like 30 seconds, either it needs to be another base or just go with it,
Yeah.
right? Like there's more value, at least for me, in enjoying and maybe eventually having success on just go with your good instinct. And if that doesn't work, oh
Yeah.
well.
I did that last night and did pretty well. I was looking at the base, like the number one, and I'm like, this could go horribly wrong. Here's my instinct. And then I look at it, and then my plan starts getting complicated. And then I go, you know what? Just go in. Just do what you're thinking about doing. And then I do now, because there is a difference to when I'm looking at the base, and when I actually hit. And so when I get in there, if I have a plan, and then when I start, I just go with my impulse, because it seems like once I hit attack, everything changes or something. So if
Yeah.
I'm when I hit that point, sometimes I'll just switch it up right then because I just feel like something different. Those are the ones that usually go better, for sure.
I I have that feeling every time, like, I watch a replay of my attack, like clockwork, right? Because
Yeah.
I finally got out of this, like, drop everything. It's funny, so last week, Swim Boy mentioned something like, "We don't have anyone in the clan who just drops all their troops in one spot and hits attack," and I was kinda giggling to myself because for a while, that's kinda what I was doing. Not with dragons, but, like, with root riders and valks and stuff, and there was a bunch of stuff, but I was just putting it in one place and going, and it was working for a while. But, I tried to switch it up to be a little more respectful. So I've got this like get this mini RC walk, but every time I watch the replay of doing that, I always send her like in a general direction and she always ends up going somewhere else
Yeah.
because everyone's building bases to throw it off and to ruin your plan. And I fall for the bait every friggin' time. But after that's done, like, in my mind, like, as soon as, like, the RC charge is done, like, "Alright, I'm gonna send troops the rest of the way," like, I got a cadence to go, and in my mind, like, it's happening fast in the moment. I'll watch the replay, and I'll watch the replay, and the RC charge will end, and it'll wait, and it'll wait, and it'll wait, and I'm like, "What happened? Did the game freeze?" Like, no, like, in real life, I'm sitting there thinking like, "Oh, shit, what do I do now?" In my mind, when I'm attacking, like, "Oh, I'm
Oh,
going immediately into the next phase," but when I watch replay, I'm like, "This is why time feels so much." I get through the
mhm.
RC charge, and I can just see myself going, "What now? What do now? What where does everything
Yeah.
go?" I didn't
Yeah.
plan the next step.
And it is weird because even with that, I was finding myself doing the same thing where I do it and then I go, "Okay, what happened? Eh, where do you go? Like, this is a plan. I can do this or do that." And then as I kept going, what I realized is that not only that, I could start 2 things at one time, or like and I've been doing that with my, even now I've been doing that with the kind of modification, the swims attack that he told me. He's told me he's going both at one time, and I was doing that, but then I get back to the same thing where I drop in the RC, just going and I'm waiting, you know, just, "Okay, I'll just do this first," but yeah, that's rough, and last night's, or for this war, I hit number 2, and I think I coulda got it. I did the 4 recall, and then but it was at the very end, I didn't know which one to bring back, and and there were the 3 kinda sitting right there. I'm like, "Is it the king? Is it the RC?" And I'm waiting for this one, and I ended up bringing the one hero back. If I woulda went with the other one, I think I might have got it, but it was I probably in that replay, there's probably I feel like there's gonna be like a minute of just
Like, "Oh,
the
did he
one
lag?
thing.
Did he time out? What's going on?"
Oh.
Like, "No, no, he's trying to think. He's trying to what do I do
He took a
now?"
lunch break.
That was one of the funniest things because when I was streaming for a short while, I did some esports matches, and I never did anyone real famous. I just covered smaller teams, but you would occasionally see the attack where their entry would get baited, and these guys who are really skilled attackers, they would they would lose a queen charge or a warden walk or something early on, and after that happens, like there's this pause where everyone watching is like, "Oh crap, what happened?" But then when you see it happen to yourself, you're like, "Stupid, stupid, why,
Yeah.
stupid? Why did I drop that there?"
Okay, he's assessing. He's assessing. What's he gonna do? Can he recover it?
Like
Yeah.
I have this mental block right now with these RC charges because in my mind I'll look at a base and I'll be like, okay, I'm betting that the builder is going to bait someone who wants to just go in and grab the town hall with their RC charge. So I'm specifically not going to look there. I'm going to look somewhere else. Maybe I'm trying to work my way to the clan castle or one of those stupid crafted defenses. Like I'm gonna start over here. I'm betting that's not where they, and I'll drop the RC as I'm having that thought, and then there's Tesla, bomb, bomb, bomb. And I'm like, damn it. They
S
they knew I was gonna do this. They knew I was gonna talk myself out of it. Like
so
I think I did all my war techs this morning, and I didn't triple a single one of them. And almost every one of them afterwards, I'm like,
the
I dropped that RC exactly where that builder was hoping I was gonna drop it.
the psychological warfare is working on you then, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, they got my number. That's why for the longest time, like, just dropping everything in one place and having it work, like, it felt so good because, like, "Yeah, screw you, base builders, okay?" Like,
Yeah.
what's your plan for everything in the corner and go, right? You didn't
You
plan
didn't
for
see
that
this
one, did
coming,
you?
did you? Yeah. Yeah,
But you know
that's
what stopped me from doing that?
what?
We got in stupid Champs 3 CWL, and I was like, "No, no, you can't just keep dropping all in one place now. Like everyone's trying. You got to like put some
Oh,
effort into this again." So I was like, "Okay, I'll start. I'll dust off something that's a little more controlling." And I still like I've got this other mental block about whatever the top town hall level is because whenever it was 15 or
you're scarred.
16 or now 17, like whatever the top town hall is, like that's the one that I'm afraid of doing anything too elaborate. But whatever's right below it, like man, all of a sudden I'm
It
esports legend. And I do that same thing. Like I think you mentioned this episode a couple weeks ago. It might have been when you had Kat um and T on when you're on like
mm,
a mini account and you're doing
oh,
like
yeah.
another hit and you're like it's now it's 2021 and I am in the world championship for Town Hall 12 and this hit this is the final hit for the world championship. I do that every time I play on a mini. Like and honest to God, I'm the world's greatest Town Hall 13 player in the world. Every time I hit there because the attacks are just so crazy elaborate and then I get on 17, and I'm like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm, don't, mm-mm. You'll
And you're
lose it. It'll go bad."
and you're probably just smashing the shit out of it at with the lower ones, right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but I mean, they've oh gosh, they've nerfed the lower town halls so much over the years just to, the game keeps building in-game content and the
well,
time and everything. Like if it was too tough at those lower ones, like
but it's
they'd lose so
still
many
I
players.
think it's just because we have the higher practice, with the other defenses, and I do the same thing where I'll go in with an attack like that, and I just feel like, "Oh, this is nothing, this piddly little base." And I'm the same, like, town hall level and just destroying it, and I think a lot of it has to do with, like, your mental state going into it. If you feel like you're like, "What the hell ever," here I come. Uh, and I
100%.
and in even in Town Hall 17, it's like that. It's like if I don't go in feeling good, like if I'm hitting doing FCs and stuff and I'm just not getting it, I'm just kind of like I should never go unless I have been hitting 100%. Just because then I'm just like, yeah, I think it should be okay. Instead of like I got this.
Well, I think that the reaction time, right? Because let's face it, for all the planning in the world, like you gotta see stuff, anticipate stuff, and then like you gotta drop stuff depending on what happens as you're getting through the base. And a lot of that in just your reaction time, and even then like doubting whether or not it's time to drop something, like all that plays into where your confidence is at the beginning. And I think that's exactly the reason. Like when there's no pressure on hitting whatsoever, and it's like, no one cares what the score is. Man, I could do some really, really good attacks. And the second there's like pressure involved in it, I fold like a cheap suit. Like it's gonna be awful. Like this here comes the one stars. All right.
We just need tournaments that nobody tells us we're in, and we probably
Yeah.
just smash
It's like
through it.
I promise you, no one's watching this. Like I
Yeah.
swear. Well,
One of these attacks today will be a tournament attack. We're not going to tell you which one.
so when I used to do these competitive league matches, two things. One, the guys that I played with, they all did really skilled coordinated attacks. So I never felt pressure to like be the best one on the team. But I also Town Hall 13 was still simplistic enough where you could be successful with spammy type attacks with some base identification, but you could still be marginally successful, even competitively by just having some well laid out base identification and spam your attacks. And when we would get in these league matches, I would purposely like get on at the very beginning before I knew any of my teammates were on and do the attacks when they wouldn't be watching. And like if I got one in and then one of them logged on, I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna do one now. I'm not gonna
Oh,
do the other one. They're like, why not? I'll spot you. I'm like, I don't want to spot. I don't want anyone watching. Just let me
just log
go.
off. Did you
But
do
that
it?
was
Did you do attacks like on Discord when you were doing it?
yeah. Well, and yes and no. Like I would be on because I was like back then I was
You're
always
supposed
on
to be
Discord
streaming.
and we I mean in between the matches like we were on voice chat talking about something even if it wasn't the game just
Yeah.
nonstop. Um, but yeah, I would constantly have it up and sometimes there would be people on but they just weren't active because there were guys on that team and in that clan that would just like they would log on to voice and just stay on it all day
Listen.
and they wouldn't actually be active other than
Yeah.
certain times they chime in here and there. Um, but yeah, it was almost always live with someone. There was this like ongoing rule like all right, if someone's in the middle of attack, like don't like hop in voice and try to distract them, which was it was surreal a couple years later. Like when I first started podcasting, I ran around with the C2J guys for a while, and there was always this like ongoing prank of someone logging in and messing up an attack on voice in the middle of someone's attack, and it
Oh,
brought back memories to those old competitive days when it was like, listen. We're trying to do well here. Don't mess up someone else's attack, and that's the exact same thing that they were intentionally trying to do over at C2J at
oh
the
my
time.
God. Oh, we used to do that like back in the day, but we'd be supportive of each other when we were doing it, and we'd play war songs and things. Um, but there's just quite nothing like somebody being on when everything goes wrong, and you're like, ooh, ooh. You just know that they're like, they're feeling bad for you, and they don't know what to say.
Quiet.
Yeah, crickets in the background. But it is nice though. Like I know when we did Worlds, this was kind of like the first time back into well, I never did competitive stuff, but like kind of back into that whole environment of how it was. And it reminded me how nice it was to have somebody spotting you to be like drop that thing, the CC or whatnot, but because I can be kind of forgetful.
Honestly, the only I was never a huge fan of like spotters trying to remind me to drop stuff that I already had planned out. The only time that I ever used or ever appreciated a spotter was like if I had some cleanup troops that I was saving on purpose, and there was an easy place to like drop one that I wouldn't readily gonna notice. So like if I had a minion or a wizard or someone left over, and there was like some easy cleanup at the bottom of the base, and someone would just say, "Hey, drop a cleanup at 6 or something," because it could start working like, that was always helpful, but, I mean, as far as the rest of it, it would
Yeah.
it would throw me off more than it would help me.
Well, so we're now, I guess, like it's the Halloween season, the Clashoweeny. Uh, Now that we're here, I guess, when did you start playing? And and in all of that, how are you feeling about it now with this ranked? Because I feel like I don't. For me, I kind of feel like it is all kind of coming together in a different way. I don't. It reminds me of the old days a little bit, but
Well, I mean, I'll say this about the game, like, they've made a lot of changes, and, it's clear that they're continually making changes listening to feedback. Other than the feedback of, "Hey, vet some of these changes and stop releasing updates with so many bugs." That
ooh,
one they're completely ignoring because they love releasing updates more than they like fixing bugs. Um, but no, it's kinda surreal. I every once in a while, I'll go back and listen to one of the old Casual episodes and try to remember things that we talked about, and there's a lot of suggestions we made, like like joking, like, "Hey, Supercell, if you're listening, you should do this, you should do that." And but a lot of them have actually happened. And one of the things that I used to gripe about for the longest time on um, the old mechanism for doing raids, if you logged into your account and someone else was raiding your base, you had to sit there and watch it, right?
Yeah.
And no one doing loot raids was doing anything other than like either sneaky gobs or a bunch of e-drags. Like that was like
Oh.
95% of attacks. And if you had multiple accounts, you were trying to log in to get something done or even just to donate to yourself. If that happened to be while someone was hitting your base, you had to sit there and watch it. You watch some idiot 12-year-old in Indonesia who like just dropped e-drags and has no idea what he's doing. And
It wouldn't be so bad
I
if
was
they
like,
were actually good attacks.
yeah, if I ever logged in and saw someone like carving apart my base, I'd probably take notes, honestly,
Yeah.
but that never happened. And I I said for a long time, like either the biggest change I want is don't make me have to watch that when I log in. And it didn't get mentioned or highlighted at all, but in the last update with the ranked battle, like that's happened because of the breaks and because of the way that they store the hits and everything. Like you never have to sit there and watch your base getting hit unless you want to watch the replay. Unless you
Yeah.
mainly go and watch the replay. Um, and I'm like, damn, they just fixed my all time gripe and didn't even publicize it at all. But there's been a handful of things like
And not even
I had
thank
this
you. They
idea.
didn't even send you a thank you in the mail
Yeah, yeah.
for the amazing idea.
I'm a humble guy, Scotty. I don't need any big thank yous or flowers
Yeah.
or anything,
But
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 a
but if they want to
footnote on
send
the
them,
patch notes would
they
be
can
enough.
send them to Just
Yeah.
kidding.
If you have extra flowers available, though. But I used to talk about wanting to have this function in war where you could just see the range for all defenses, and they did something like that. They just did it for like you could see all the range from mortars or the sweepers. Like
Yeah.
you used to have to do it individually. Like I talked about something like that like a year before they did it, and so afterwards I was like,
Weird.
did they actually listen to me? And I'm like, surely not. Surely there was enough people out there going, hey, I couldn't have been the first guy that had some of those ideas. But then after a couple of them happened, I was like, okay, I need to watch what I say. Okay,
Yeah. Don't want
if
careful what you
they're
wish for.
listening in.
Well,
Listen, we would argue on the old podcast, like we would say some wild stuff, and we had no filters whatsoever. So there's plenty of times afterwards I was like, oh god, I hope I didn't go too far that time.
well, are you feeling like it's in a good place? Like,
Well, I'll say this, and there's a bunch of different levels of that because of the people that play the game. There are like these very, very defined like social circles that people play in. Like there's the guys who are like hardcore competitive, that either like will join leagues and be competitive, and they're like the minority in the number of players, but they're also like the loudest. They're always the ones griping about the meta or this game's too easy. Like they were the ones that cried at Town Hall 14 because it's so easy, and then they were you know going crazy Town Hall 15 like this is the greatest meta ever. Meanwhile, the vast majority of the player base who's trying to just enjoy it
mhm.
and progress their base and not get called out for being bad at attacking, they hated the game like that. So I think you've got like a casual player that just wants to have some success but doesn't want to have to live and breathe the game, and there's a tipping point to where they cannot enjoy it. And then you got people who are grinding, they're trying to upgrade it, and they all have a very very different experience in the game. And I think right now for the young players, the people who've only been playing for a year or two or still relatively new, it's a great time for them to play because so much has been done to reduce upgrade times to make their progressions speed up and be faster, and to enjoy success at the lower town hall levels. It's just easier to obtain now than it ever has been before. So I think for the longevity of the game, which let's face it, there's not a lot of 13-year-old games out there.
Yeah.
Like if it's gonna continue living, like you're not going to do that with the same dinosaurs that have been around the game forever, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna lose a number of them, and the number's just going to keep going. So you've got to have new players at least to at some degree to keep it going. And I think they've done some good stuff to keep a steady flow of new players interested, or at least newer players. Um, and then that middle tier, that kind of that person who's played for a long time, who's a little more into it, but not super competitive. I think they might be in the best place right now because the game is has challenging aspects, but it's not too hard. And people who have spent time understanding, some of the greater functions of the game, they can enjoy it on a bunch of different levels. That's kind of what I do, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking
Moving
about the
your
game.
troops, dispersing your troops as you drop them.
Yeah. I enjoy, like, I enjoy what I can, and sometimes that's pretending like I'm the best Town Hall 13 in existence.
Yeah.
And it's there's enough stuff to just be active. Um, there is a portion of that player base, I think, that gets frustrated because they've added so much new stuff. If you've got like the fear of missing out, like if that's something that worries you, this game is going to run you ragged
Yeah.
because there's a constant stream of events of new things going on. And if you can look at that as like an option to help your progression or help your base when you're available to play, it can be really good. If you look at it from the angle of I've got to be a part of this, otherwise I'm going to be behind, then it's going to stress you out. And I do wish there was a little more balance there because even as level-headed as I try to be, I constantly find myself feeling like I'm missing out. I'm missing out. Why am I hanging out with my family or working? I should be clashing right now, you know? Um, but I think overall because of especially some of the quality of life changes they made, it's better. And then like for the hardcore, like, I really want to be competitive, super competitive. I'm going to play esports. I'm going to enter these leagues. Like for those guys, um, I mean, luckily because of hard mode, like they've got a vehicle to play. But if you didn't have hard mode, I would say those guys are having the worst time right now. And quite frankly, Scotty, I couldn't care less about the time they have playing the game because, in my experience, the guys that are the most competitive are also the most toxic and the ones who, honestly, I wouldn't be hurt at all if they just stopped playing the game because, in my experience, like they push for more bad changes for the game more so than anyone else. And unfortunately, they've got more of the ear of the people at Supercell than anyone else because they play esports matches because they for whatever, most of them have been playing the game for a long time, all 13 years or for a very long time. And they're also the ones who get online and talk about the meta stale or it's too easy, or this and that, or it's unplayable. And they force, like when Supercells listen to them, they do things like create Town Hall 15, which the majority of the player base hates. So quite frankly, if those guys hate the game, like I think honestly, it's probably better for the masses. Definitely better for people like you and I. So I could give a shit less if they like the game or not right now. I hope they hate it, honestly.
Well, it seems like with that player base, there's only a few. If that player base is happy, you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
That's a signal of like happiness. It's like, okay, and I can't remember what it was. Was it Teach or 17 coming out, or I can't remember what it was, but it was just like quiet on that scene, about the change, and it's like, okay, that must mean people are really liking it, and I think you make a really good point about it being a very, very small percentage of people of players um that have kind of the most influence. Like let me put it this way. There are a lot of things that I wouldn't never think about or wouldn't consider a problem sometimes. You know what where I don't know. And now I do think for me, I also will say the FOMO has just stopped because after being maxed for 3 weeks, I don't think I don't really I wanna get up, but I think always wanna have a builder going. It was a good experience for about a couple weeks, and now I'm just like, I like having that thing to do, so it kinda frees me, hopefully for of course, I'll probably be buying books and things like that, but kind of
Listen,
a good
I realize, like, if you really wanna speed things up, there's usually always something you can buy to do that. But I definitely used to stockpile the magic items in anticipation for an update, and I remember, like, the day that Town Hall 15 dropped, like, I had every hero upgraded, I had the majority of the lab done, I had all the major defenses done, like,
took a
I had
week off
maybe,
of
like
work.
yeah, well, I had stockpiled all, like, these runes and books and everything. I had just spent way too much money, and I did it, and I didn't just like, I did it for 2 maxed accounts. So I did it times 2, and, it just I got used to, like, playing and not having upgrades, and yeah, that was kinda dull, but it was that fear of missing out or not having, the strongest defense or whatever, and if that's really like if you're really worried about having underpowered defenses or whatever, like you can do that gradually. You don't have to do it all on update day. But there was a lot of times where like, what am I logging in for? You're doing legends attacks. Like I
Oh,
never consistently did those either. Like I did them when I was streaming because it was content. But like I don't know, like not having anything to upgrade. Like it was a dull existence, and it took me a while because I lived in that space for I don't know, the better part of a year, year and a half, where I would I would max whatever the latest update was in a couple of weeks and then have nothing to work on, at least not on the maxed accounts. That was about the time that I really started working on all the mini accounts because I have like, I don't know, 11, 12 accounts now. And most of them I haven't touched in years because now I just gradually upgrade the top accounts. But when the top accounts were paid for and maxed instantly all the time, I would just gradually do the minis here and there. Um,
so
but
what are you thinking now about, like, the ranked? Are you doing the ranked?
so I found this happy place for my Town Hall 17 accounts, and that's in Electro 31 because there's no like increased difficulty at that level, but you get the max 4 payout, which I would say if there's one factor that I'm still I guess most charged up about them not fixing the game, it's the ore economy. And I feel like they do a lot of smoke and mirrors to try to just make you forget about how hard it is to get ore, even when they've done little things like, "Oh, here's an extra starry per day,"
Squirrel.
or, "No, if you get up to Electro 31, it's 2 per day." So in Electro 31, you can get 2 starry ore per day with the star bonus and not have to be doing attacks on, like, an increased difficulty level. So that's the perfect place for me to live because I don't give a shit about doing hard mode attacks. I have no desire to go do esports or anything. Like the game and how they created it in base mode, that's plenty for me. I fail enough at that. Like I don't need to
Do them
kill my
mul
ego anymore.
well, are you so what how are you you're in Electra 31, you said? 30,
Yeah.
31.
Electro 31 is the so
I've
32 and 33 have like
yeah.
they have it and then the new legends has the full hard mode plus
I think doesn't it
whatever the
go
limiting factors were they put
I think the
on the
legend
30.
is hard mode without the hero, the over like the last piece, and then so then esports is the reduced hero kinda
Yeah.
offensive.
Honestly, I had no plans on ever playing either of those modes. So when I got to that point of the update, I was like, next. Like I was on YouTube, like skip ahead. What's the next thing? I don't care about this one. I'm never gonna get up to that level and play. And so in the ranked modes now, like week by week, the last couple of weeks, because I had one account that spun into like Dragon 30. So I was like, all right, I've got to promote this account to the next league
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
get the
ask.
right ore level. But everything else spun right where I wanted it. So now it's just about maintaining. So at the end of the week, I'll check my rank, and if I'm in that middle zone of stay where you're at, I'm good. If I'm at risk of demoting, I'll do some attacks to stay in the league. But
Are you
that's
worried
pretty
about
much it.
promoting?
No,
You're not
I'm
you
not
got
going to
that
do enough
under
attacks to
control?
promote.
I really
Ugh.
do like, and here's the only, so I'm hoping to promote. I don't know if I'll promote this because I'm in Electro 33. The uh, Amazon AWS crash the other day. It didn't, for some reason, the new base didn't load because I think that is like, so I might not, just because of the defenses and a few crappy attacks. But I really do like the week thing. And so
Yeah.
if I go to Legends, when I get there, I should say, I wonder if I'm going to miss the week to week. So if you're, once you go to Legend, for people in the future or whatnot, maybe a change, uh, you get all 30 attacks, right, for the month? Or what was it? Yeah, eight attacks a day, right, for the month. And
Be
then
real honest with you, Scotty, that goes in the realm of, I knew I'd never be there, so I didn't pay attention.
doesn't pertain to me. Uh, but it stops that, it ends on Sunday. Uh, you reset on Monday, load your base or whatnot, and then it starts on Tuesday. I really like that mini tournament
Yeah.
because it's a whole week and you're looking at that leaderboard for the week and it goes on. So I don't know what Legend looks like now. Um, if you're just fighting for the end of the month, but I think it would be cool to do it in Legend, and why not just do a couple tier, like the month ranking, if you make the top 10 go to these, top 10 go to put all the best, the best,
Yeah.
um up from
I mean,
there.
there's definitely still some massaging they can do at the top for the new league system. Because like y'all were talking the other week about the arbitrary starting everyone in Legends off at 5,000 trophies for what purpose? It doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know. There's some things that they haven't vetted through, and I'm sure they'll get plenty of feedback. Because, well, like we said earlier, all the guys playing the new Legends, those are those guys who are definitely going to bitch and moan about anything that's not going right. Like I just they're just talking about it because I have not talked about the esports scene in months, just because I got so tired of those guys. But Scotty, there was a time at Town Hall 15, which again, everyone collectively, even in their memory, remembers as the toughest defensive meta in the game.
Yeah,
There was about a month or 2 months leading up to the World's Finals that year where esports players took to online through Twitter or anywhere else they could say, and they were just bitching so much about super barb attacks and how Supercell needed to nerf the super barbs because it made the game broken and it was too easy and anyone could triple, and like it was still a pretty darn tough coordinated attack to do even at the end of Town Hall 15, which again in the last, I don't know, half decade has been the toughest defensive meta that we've had, and they still found a way to gripe about it then. Like that was, I remember when we were recording and they were doing that, I was like, this is it. Like that is a group of guys who are just going to find a way to complain about something. So with the new league system and the new Legend League, they will find a way to gripe about it, no matter what it is. Um, but I'm sure some of the more, I guess, relatable topics, or just the way that they're doing the week in, week out, day out hits. Like I'm sure they'll come back and change that at some point in time to make it fit a little bit. And I do think there's going to be enough of the player base that is in or around Legends, maybe either people who are going up or coming back constantly, who are going to want that experience to be more like the other leagues where you have that flexibility
that's a great
week
point.
by week to kind of get the hits in. And I think honestly, that's again, he's separating what's getting the most noise to the Supercell group versus what's actually the best for the player base. And if you've got really good, really involved, honestly, monetarily invested players
Yeah,
who are playing at that level, but would get more out of the game by having a week by week hit cycle instead of a day by day, then Supercell would be dumb not to change it to help that group out, because there's a infinitely higher number of players in that category than there are guys who are going to join an esports team and go, try to play competitively.
Well, here's what I like about, and now that we're talking about it, some of these things are kind of coming out of my, um, I'm seeing some of the implications. Um, just the fact that like you have to have 8 in a day in Legend, and then now it's like with the 30, so it says 6 a day, but you can do it all at one time. So, like, some of the top 10 people in my league, this they were done, like, 2 days or the day into it, and so now I've just been crawling up the leaderboard, having my own fun, going, "Okay, I gotta go in. Oh, he's climbing," and now I've got 7 left, and I'm like, "Okay, if I can get, 30 trophies on each one of these, I should be able to pull it right into, promotion or whatever." Um, I like I like to be able that you have that flexibility. I will hold off on a day so that I can, practice if I'm not feeling it. I just go, "You know what? I didn't do well. I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow." And then it's, um, super flexible that way. I like that every week is like, if you mess up, you're only gonna blow a week.
Yeah.
You get a fresh week, the next week. So I think I'm gonna miss that part of it, like um, that flexibility in when you hit, for sure.
I
Because
wonder.
I keep thinking I'm just gonna wait until I figure something out, and I actually did, like, right at the end of last week, and so now I'm doing better this I don't have that defensive base either, so
I wonder if there's going to be other nuances that come up in like this new style of Legends. Again, keep in mind I have no desire to ever play it. However,
I'll tell you all about
back in it, yeah. Tell me what it's like, Scotty.
it.
What in the old Legends format, there definitely became like tiers within Legend League, and this is something I always remember. Like I played with these really competitive guys here and there, guys who played competitively on teams and talked about it. But there was always a strategy in how to get through the old Legend style of like changing your base at certain cup levels, right? So like you got above 5,500 and you want to change your base layout because after this, like there's
Yeah,
different meta type hits or different things, and then even like
steps.
if you got above 57 or 59, like you change your base again, change your CC, and I mean, some of those levels were just they're kind of generally known by the guys who were always up pushing at that level. And I'm wondering if this new format's is gonna force them all to like reset it. Because I got to tell you, I know you and I talked just a little bit about like base building and who to buy from and kind of my experience there. But I also remember like some of those monthly packs that I used to buy and post in my Discord to share with the community. Like there were bases that were given that were specifically like Legends style bases, but they were also like those big base building services, they would build them for different like cup levels. Like here's a base
Um,
that's good up to 5,300 cups. Here's a good one that's good for like the 5,500 range. Every once in a while, I'd get one that was like, "This is a good base for like the 5,900 range," and I'd instantly go, "All right, and put this over here because I'm never going to need that. I'm never getting up to that level." But thanks, I'm glad I paid for it.
and you still
But
have
that
them.
was yeah, well, somewhere.
No.
In fact, I think they're still in my Discord server that's rapidly it's I used to have a page on my Discord that was called Coming In Hot. It was like where to announce people that came, and I changed the name of it to Leaving Out Fast because for the last, I don't know, 2 years, it's just been people leaving the Discord server. But I used to post the links there, and, I'm sure some of them are still there. I don't know if the links still work, but there were some I would post and be like, "Yeah, no one I know is ever gonna use these." And
I
I get up to 5,900.
I do like that part about, and maybe this is the one piece of that too, is that, and I don't, and I think that this is the way it is that you can change your base every day in Legend still, but only once you only get that one in the rest of the leagues, right? Um, I think that's awesome. It can suck, right? Because if you've got get a shitty base or you put the wrong one in, but I think that would be a nice schedule to be on for base builders, or it would kind of lead to this different kind of economy maybe around bases where it's like you spend the week working on your base, posting it, um, and it would kind of slow everything down too. Like you'd give everybody a week to create an evolution in bases, and then you kind of see this like thing rolling out once a week. Um, of course, you're locked in, but I really like that part of what's going on, and I didn't get to change it this week, and it might cost me, but it's only a week, so I don't.
Like outside of the again, like the legends where they're really competitive, like honestly, the other levels, you just got to put a base that's just generally okay, and then not worry about it because you're like, if you're really wanting to promote leagues, that's all going to happen on your offense. You know, like your defense is not going to like if you have like a progression base up, yeah, that might tank you enough on defense to not be able to promote. But if you've just got something respectable up, like it's about whether or not you can hit effectively offensively and whether or not you're promoting in those other leagues.
Just need a couple more 1 stars against mine. I think that was the first week I had a one base in, and it was doing well, and I put the other one in, and it just is more of the 2 star base, and so I'm just not catching those things. It doesn't really. It looks like everything's evening out with defensive wise, I think. But it would be cool It's kind of like the legend when there's CWL when those CWL bases come rolling out, and you get to see like, oh wow, I haven't seen something like this, or I'm not used to hitting this type of base. It would be nice to do that um, weekly. I think then you have
Well,
more time to catch up.
there was a time with base builders, and I used to know quite a few base builders. In fact, the first guest we ever had on the Clashuals was a guy named Thrain, who actually, sad story, tragic, a couple months after our episode, he passed away. But he was a base builder, and that's like he started his own company and did base building, and interacted with a lot of base builders. And I heard a lot of them say over the years that like the base building, at least more so back then. Town Hall 17 has been a little bit different because towards the end of Town Hall 17, like even like the troll layouts were pretty easy to triple with most like meta offensive attacks that most players were doing because of introduction of all the different types of hero equipment, stuff like that. But back before Town Hall 17, a lot of the strategy in base building in some of those layouts was to just kind of roll the dice on on
The cat's
a
awesome.
yeah,
It was like a superhero cat in the background. It was like the perfect movie entrance for a cat jumping on the back of the chair. I
now,
love it.
Scotty, you watched me earlier before we started recording, and I made it clear to her that she was not going to be part of the show, and uh, and here she is back
Look
for
at
her.
she's too fabulous to not be part of it. Oh,
Now, now she's on the desk. She
cameo.
knows she's not supposed to be there.
She made a cameo.
Say hi. All right. Now say goodbye.
She needed
Um,
she, she needed her acting card.
can't stay out of the spotlight, can she?
Yeah.
That's the real reason why I gave up podcasting. I had to spend more time with the cats. That's what it was. They just they got
They
jealous.
you had to run their show.
Um, so base building. Uh, there used to be this kind of general guideline that at a certain level in Legends, you were building a base that if the attacking player, like if it was a war base or like certainly like a competitive base, like it would get trashed by someone who could sit there and analyze it and figure out like, okay, the traps are probably here based off the spacing. Like they're probably baiting this entry. Like it's not good. But in Legends, because you only had like 30 seconds to prepare, um, they're kind of rolling the dice on what the layout was, where the town hall was, and then a lot of times what they were telling you to put in the CC on if you get an attacker who doesn't realize this in the first 30 seconds and they try to start their attack at one point, there's a good chance that it's not just that they're going to fail the base, that they could one star the base. And there was a level of base building where the base builders were pushing to try to bait that kind of attack and thinking like, all right, in an 8 day Legends Day, you could very well from this base have 4, 5, 6 defenses that triple your base. But on the ones where you defend, you might have a good chance of just getting a 1 star and then saving a ton of cups just in 2 or 3 of those hits. And it wasn't about creating a base that was going to defend against everyone, which is more what they were trying to build bases for war for or
Yeah.
for CWL. And it was more about build a base that if the attacker doesn't see the right entry right away, you've got a chance of like throwing them down from 3 to 1 stars. Um,
You just need that
and that's
one, right? Like, because everything's going to get tripled anyways. So you might as well have, most
well, see,
likely, like,
here's the thing. Like at Town Hall 17, yeah, and I think that became more of the Legends strategy later. Although again, because of some of the changes they had made to the game, even that was really tough to bait to that point, especially with as good as some of the attackers are up at that level. But even when Town Hall 16 was still pretty easy. In fact, I take it back. Town Hall 16 was a much easier meta in the long run. But at Town Hall 15, like you were expecting defenses almost every day, even up at the higher levels, just because the defense was so strong at that level. But again, like that was the difference in creating a base for Legends and somewhere else was can you show them something that's going to tell them to attack one direction that's going to completely set them off.
did you do
And that's
base? You didn't base build though, did you?
No, I mean, I retrapped a lot of bases, um, but I would always just take existing builds and work with them. We had when we were doing these league matches back years and years ago, um, we had a guy who had done some base building. We had a really, I think, cool collection of guys on that team that were from all over the world. We attracted guys from all different time zones, which made it interesting and challenging at the same time. But there were guys with all these different like experiences, and they would tell me all the time too. They're like, "Listen, sometimes not having the experience or not being jaded too much of the experiences makes you better at trying to retrap a base because you'll just have fresh ideas. And guys who have done too many attacks, they've gotten burned by certain things. So when they're retrapping or they're building, they're thinking specifically about the couple times they failed, and they're missing ideas on building for ideas or scenarios that are going to defend more generally against other types of attacks. So I would I would take bases that they'd built, or usually a lot of times that they'd bought, and I would just retrap it based off what I looked at the base and thought, okay, well, people are generally doing this kind of attack or this kind of attack for this base. So if they're going to do that, and we trap it this way, we could throw them really off on their entry, or we could make them feel really good about their entry, and then when they drop, the core of their troops somewhere else, then they're going to get thrown sideways. Um, and it was just a different take. But as far as starting from scratch, like I tried early on building some bases, and they stunk. They never held up. So I learned early on. I really didn't have the patience for it, and really didn't want to do it. But also, once I figured out you could just buy bases from other people, that was easy. I actually the base that we used in Champs 3, I didn't have a good offensive week in CWL last month, but my base actually did okay, the blueprint base. But the reason it did okay was I looked through the list of the bases that you put on Discord, and I noticed one of the base builders was a guy that we had on the Pod Wars back when we were hosting the podcast. We did an event one Saturday where we did a bunch of live hits on stream, and we did the opposite of what spotters do. We were trying intentionally to screw with them during their attack and throw them off.
That's awesome.
And we had this guy who we'd known. He was a friend of the podcast, and he was all around the Twitch streams named Pekachu. and he was a base builder, and he's since gone to work for the base building service that you used last month. So I saw one of his bases on there, and I was like, I'm gonna pick his base. And then I moved some of the traps just a little bit, and then I changed the crafted defense that he had selected for it, and it
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 did.
worked. Like it defended a couple of times, and even from and I think I was number 13 on the map, so I wasn't really in a spot that should have had many defenses, but I had quite a few. But you know, I think it was for his base.
And it might have been, um, with the bases, I think the and I'll probably go with them again this month, uh, just just because. Give them another, chance to see how it works. The problem for me with the bases, is when they come out a little bit. Like, just that to get them out to everybody. I get that they wanna be really, really fresh, and I appreciate that part of it. Um, and then, a couple other little things, but, what we didn't have in it was the ability to put them up there and at least test them first
Yeah,
before our first round, and so I don't know if and maybe this month it's like, have your one base, that you can put up unless you think this one's gonna be just awesome, and then, uh, have that to go the second day because by the time you started to realize this one's not working and it could have probably just been a couple little minor changes, like, hey, just switch this to this and then or change up the CC a little bit. Because it was very specific for a certain meta, I think, and it just got hit the other way,
there's
maybe.
there's a lot that goes into it, and what I know is that when you get up to the champs level of CWL, whether it's champs one, two, or three. Um, there's generally there's guys, players who look at the game differently there, and I saw too many times like the same bases that defended really really well in Masters just got obliterated in champs, and it is for a number of different reasons. One thing you got to remember too, um, and especially like as you go through the week, is that there's a lot of teams out there in champs two, champs three who are doing really, really try hard CWS because they want to get to Champs One. So they are doing things like sending your base pictures of your base through scanners to like scan through burnt base and try to see if there's other videos of people hitting the base to figure out where the traps are. Um, which is why like whenever I was in a clan um, that was really trying to promote or at least like maintain a high CWL ranking, even when we bought bases, like we would always tell them like they take them and retrap them because if day one, day two in CWO this base gets burnt, like there's video of someone hitting it and tripling it online, and they're going to use that as a guide on how they're going to hit your base, retrap it so that whenever they're hitting it, that the bombs, especially now with the spring track, with that rework, those are in different places so that it's not going to be the same experience as what they see when they look at it online.
I suppose because there's a limited number of bases limited number of people that they go out to, or clans, but it's a limited pool in each of the champs league, every time you're going up. And I suppose I kept thinking I made a mistake in my thinking and thinking that it would just be more intense once you're there. But like like you're saying with people who like are gonna dial it in but people have to get up there, right? So those
Yeah.
people are also on the move. Um, and I didn't think about that. Uh, just used to getting that little extra edge with the defenses and
Well,
whatnot.
I know we had talked about like what's the difference in the different base building sites and stuff, and certainly that can change month to month too, depending on who's
Mhm.
building and who works for each one, and quite frankly, how they build bases. Like there's so much that goes into it. Like I know when I was scrolling through the list of um, bases last month, I saw that there was one on there that was advertised as, oh, this one was built by General X from Repotted Gaming, which Scott, I don't know if you follow. like competitive esports at all, if you ever have. But General X was the team captain of the team that won the world championship last year. But for about the last 3 or 4 years, whatever team he's been on, he's been on the same team, but they've in Clash Esports, they change their names every year. But he's he's been on the same team and he's been the main base builder for his team always. And they always get to the world championship and have the best defensive bases in the world championship over the last 3, I think 4 years now. Whatever team he's been on has had the best bases. And so there's this general idea out there like, man, he's the best base builder around. And while that's true to some extent, that doesn't mean if you get a General X base that's oh, this is the best base in the group. Because what you got to remember is like those guys when they're defending at like a world championship, they've built those bases from scouting the teams they're going to play. So he's building
Oh.
specific bases to bait certain not just types of attacks, but like styles of attacks on who he knows they're going to play. And again, some the counter to some of those bases is someone who drops all their troops in the corner and says go, and then holy shit, it works, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Kinda
and
like
you know,
Indiana Jones and that guy in the square when he just pulls out the guns and shoots him.
I have the cheat code here. Uh, but yeah, so like his base in that pack might not necessarily not that it's going to be a bad base, but it does his name's not going to mean that it's the best one in there. However, um, like the guy that I knew who was in the pack, like I knew who he had built for and what he typically builds for, and he always built really good like CWL style bases because they were for a general population of attacker, right?
Mhm.
He was not going wholesale on baiting in certain places. He was trying to have a base that could defend over 7 days. Where General X, if he's got your number, if he knows what you like to do, he can build a base that's going to make you want to pull your hair out. So it's different styles of builders even within
Gonna
the
cry
builder
home,
community.
cry to your mama.
Dude, he listen like I hate like of all the competitive teams out there, I always hated Tribe Gaming more than anyone else because that was, they had more bandwagon fans. It felt like, and the guys that played for that team just they're insufferable to watch. And been a couple of years recently where Tribe has gone up against whatever team General X was playing for, and they just totally bombed on his base. It just sucked, and it was so rewarding to see because like every year, I don't know, so again, not getting too much into esports. I just said earlier, I hate all those guys. I really like General X because people have like left his team because like other teams will like offer him more money to come play for him. So he's kind of just recruited new unknown guys to be on his team and kind of done his own thing and been his own leader and he won last year doing it like that. But the fact that he's like the guy who can go against those attackers who everyone thinks is great and build a base that just sends them sideways. Like I've always thought that was really really cool that he could just do that to guys.
Do you watch a lot of esport or are you pretty tuned in now to Clash Esports?
I didn't this year near as much, primarily because I didn't really play hard mode, so I wasn't identifying as much. But I mean, I'm probably gonna tune in and watch next weekend just because it's Worlds and because it's a different stage. I thought about honestly because I
Jesus.
said for years when they were
November.
having well,
Almost.
yeah,
Oh,
the first the first day is Halloween night, so
oh,
or
okay.
Halloween day. Um, But yeah, I said for years that if they had it in the US that I would go, and
Yeah.
then they had it in the US and I was like, but I don't pay as much attention to it now. But I will say, like, so if Clash continues doing their worlds with this DreamHack event, so DreamHack has been around for years. Like they used to host like a Clash event at it that was just North American based. So they'd have like they used to call it, like ESL
Oh,
Snapdragon series, and they would just have like US, Canadian, and Mexico
is
based
this
North American
is this the
clans.
company?
Um,
Or what I guess I'm really not familiar with that part of
yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different like leagues and organizations that do things competitively around Clash. So there was a league that did like a full season tournament, but they only invited and accepted clans that were based with players from North America. And they
Mm.
did that because they were planning their finals, like their final like weekend of events and claiming a champion to be in coordination with one of these DreamHack like gaming events, right? So they did a live airing of the finals. So they've done that for that. I'm trying to remember. It's the league is called ESL, but the what they did or what
Oh.
they broadcast from there was called the Snapdragon Series. It was just a league, competitive league that paid money to the winners, but they did live broadcasting of the finals, and they did a live like viewing at one of these DreamHack events. So they've done that in North America, but just for like a North American event. The World Championship is from teams all over the world, minus the countries that are banned, like Russia.
Oh.
But everyone else is invited to it, and they've hosted that in Finland at Supercell's headquarters the last couple of years. And now that they're doing an event with this wider gaming event at DreamHack this year, it's gonna be different. It's gonna look a lot different, watching, but it'll be kind of a Clash event wrapped into a whole big gaming event. But DreamHack as a company, so they do these gaming events across the country every year. They'll do two or three every year, and they've got a couple of destinations that they go to in rotation. And I think every once in a while they'll add another location somewhere. But the main destinations they do are Atlanta, where they're doing the World Championships this year, San Diego in Southern California, and then in Dallas, Texas, which is where I live. So I've told myself that if they continue to do Clash Championships along with DreamHack, that next year that might be the DreamHack that's in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wow.
And if that's the case, I'm definitely going to go. Even if I'm not playing anymore, I'm going to go just to
Would you go to the
witness it.
Worlds?
Well, yeah, if that's what they're doing with the
But
with
it,
the
like,
DreamHack.
in Finland?
No, no, I'm no.
No.
I'm not listen, I'm not a small guy. I'm not getting on a plane for 17, 18 hours to get to Finland. Sorry. Just I'm not.
Hard to go anywhere for that long.
Maybe take a cruise over there. No, I don't want to do that either.
Um,
Be at sea.
so, like, if people are following it, are they following it through, like, YouTube or the stuff that Supercell puts through the channel? Because 'Cause I'm kinda missing this stuff a bunch of the time, where I'm like, I'll see the live thing, but, I hear people talking about the players and stuff, but, like, to get into it, where are people how do you
So I'll
view it?
the if you wanna just know the teams and the players, a couple years ago they started this website called the Competitive Clash Network. And they have a website now. They used to just have a Discord page, but they've got a whole website now. It's competitiveclash.network, I think is the website. And I mean they've got like rankings. What they track every major like esports competition. And so a lot of these teams, like the teams that are playing in the World Championship, they all year long they're entering in these other leagues and tournaments that have prize money available for the winners. And, some of these tournaments, like, they last the entire year, but, like, there's different
Wow.
stages they gotta go through. There's some that are just, like, they do over a month, some they do over, like, a weekend. But the Competitive Clash Network takes each team and it tracks every tournament that they're involved in, and it tracks their results, and then it spits out, like, a ranking once a month and saying, "Hey, this, generally speaking, is the best or the winningest competitive Clash team right now." And they do, like, a whole Gosh, I think last time I looked, they did like a 1 through 50 ranking on like who was up there. That was actually, I was in C2J when they first started doing like their esports team. I was actually on the team initially. And truth be told, I had one of the first uh, triples when we organized officially with FTV back in the day.
I've heard about
Um,
that.
yeah, but long after they went out and got better players to play on that team, much better than I was. They were ranked for a while. on the competitive Clash network because they had some really good players over there, or at least some guys that knew what they were doing. And then with Town Hall 16, the way the meta was, they were just you know they did really well. But websites like that, like they keep the rankings. There's like Supercell has a competitive Clash website, but they don't. It's more just like it's more for their world final or for the qualifiers leading up to the world event. It's not really to highlight or broadcast some of the other like community tournaments that go on.
And in those
So
teams, right, like in those competitions, right, is it that, I guess I'm wondering, can you switch up the teams throughout the year? Because I'd imagine, like, just keeping the same team together for a year, you would probably
Gotti, those teams change so much. Now there's rules with every like competition and tournament that you enter. So like let's say you and four buddies enter in like the Big B Cup, right? Like let's say I'm hosting a tournament and you've entered. Most like standard leagues have a rule like, all right, you can have your five team players on the team, and they've got to be tied to like five accounts. And then you can list a couple of alternates, right? Like maybe you have three or four, depending on the league. Like they might allow more alternates. So your collection of five for any given match has to be made up of people who are on your roster, either your starting five or one of your alternates. Um, so once you start leagues like that, every one of them's got different rules, but most of them rules like once you have your lineup and your alternate set, like that's all you can use. So some of these, I don't want to say more uh, organized esports teams, some of the ones that have like sponsorships, like they will change their rosters quite a few times during the year. And a lot of times that means that they're two-thirds of the way through a league and all of a sudden they've had to change over in their roster and either they can't continue the league or they've got to play certain like alternates in the remainder of the league because whoever the new players are that just don't join their team weren't part of it when they started the league.
and that's kinda what happened to us a little bit this year was, well, you start doing the Worlds in March, right, or whatever that was, and then summer happens, and then you have some people can't do it at this time or do or, it turns out that if you're in it, it's pretty intensive, to
Yeah.
do it, and I so what was happening is that, like, I thought you could do it you could change up your team every competition, but you got kinda stuck in there, and then because we changed it once, and it was just fine, but that was because it reworked within the configuration or something like that, so so it would be kinda interesting to see it run from a more team-oriented, like but I think you kinda have to have a root, there too, like, the
Scotty, the sad thing about like esports in general, or at least in Clash, and the reason that some of those rules even exist is because the amount of like cheating and finagling that goes on with some of those teams just to win a match at Clash of Clans is insane. Like the measures at which some players out there will go to try to get a competitive advantage is it's downright stupid at times. But a lot of times those roster move like the restrictions are to limit or mitigate that because otherwise there would be teams out there that just cheated their asses off.
yeah.
Try to get to the top. And what's funny is some of the times like I always thought it was funny, like, there were some of these tournaments that, like, you'd have to have a match, like, 2 or 3 matches a week for, like, 4 or 5 weeks. There'd be, like, a knockout stage and then, like, a round robin and then, like, a bracket style, like, so many different stages and all this time commitment to win at the end, like, "Alright, your team at the end is gonna win $250, which after you pay your base builders and for the bases, you divide it up against your 5 players and your alternates, like, everyone's gonna take home 20 bucks." And people were cheating their ass off so they could take home an extra 20 bucks.
Wow. Well,
But yeah, and
it's
listen, just
the
generally
economy is
speaking, like
tough. No, just
yeah, price of eggs has really gone up, so we gotta.
it'd be it'd be cool to figure out that balance. Because like even within L, really, you don't need a ton of like a team of 50, right? Like in L, you're not gonna have 50 players that want to be in a tournament, right? And you only have 15 that can be in CWL in the clan. And so with all these configurations, it's just like like 5, 7 people. It just would, yeah.
Just
It'd be
you
cool
have
to
you have
run
to
it
have
more.
you have to have the individuals that just want that. That like
Yeah.
wanna have the time commitment and wanna have the ability to learn, to try to be good at it, to learn the nuances. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Like one of the things that I famously used to joke about like hating being a clan leader. And honestly, like leading a clan like day in, day out, like that was never hard. It was just to me it was a lot of BS. But I was also like the quote unquote clan leader while I was trying to march competitive teams like through league
Oh,
matches and stuff like that. And that was the worst experience. Like trying like it's hard enough like at times like trying to get together like 5 to 7 guys to do like an esports match. Imagine like the league you're in is like a 30v30
oh my
matchup, right?
God.
And like you can and different town hall breakdowns too. Like my favorite one was there used to be when Town Hall 13 was meta, there was one that was in almost every major league did one of these divisions where it was 7 Town Hall 13s, 10 Town Hall 12s, and then 13 Town Hall 11s. And I always love that breakdown because you could invite the guys that were trying to grind to get up there to participate in some
Oh
league
man.
matchups. But I mean, man, if you were a couple short on one of those and trying to find people at the last minute, get them on the roster, and then get them, and to make sure, like, if you didn't have them already existing in the clan, you had to make sure they stayed available for the league match and didn't spin into another war, and that
Yeah.
they were available and you had good contact info for them. God, it sucked. It sucked
Yeah.
so bad. And the sad part was we never did like 5v5 matches. We talked about doing it right before we broke apart and stopped doing it because the guys that were on that team that were the Town Hall 13 bases, and we all played our alts at 12 and 11 in those leagues too. Or at least for the most part we did. But we were really good. We lost a lot of matches in those leagues. We did it because it was, once we got to the match, it was fun. It was competitive. But we lost a lot of matches because our 11s didn't hold or 12s didn't hold. But we always did really well, if not better than our opponents at Town Hall 13. And every week or every month we'd go through that, we'd be like, we should just do a like a esports team and just bring the 13s. And we never actually got around to doing it. I'm kind of glad we didn't because the negotiations, like there's this whole lead up where you've got to agree on a wartime and it's such a pain. But doing that with guys that are like super competitive, like they're looking for
It's
any
like a
inch to
high
get a
tense
competitive
boardroom
advantage.
situation. Here's
Yeah,
our
like
offer.
like if they know you're in North America and they're from somewhere else, they're mandating a time frame that's gonna,
Work for
suck
you.
more for you just because they think it's gonna give them an advantage. Like people try way too hard at this game, Scotty.
it,
Way
it
too hard at times.
it would almost be better, I think, with the tournaments to start with the time.
Yeah.
You know, you sign up for round one at whatever time and you match and you start at the place. Um, make it or don't make it type thing.
Listen, if there were leagues that did that, I mean, obviously you'd have some fallout from people who just couldn't make whatever the ground rules were, but the most league organizers, like, you gotta remember, these are people who are just kinda doing it out of their own free time, just as hobbies or passion, side quests, whatever. And same thing with, like, prize pool, like, where's that money come from? It's just people who wanna
Yeah.
pay money to try to have people join and participate in their event. But at the same time, like, when it comes down to negotiating, most like league organizers would be like, all right, team A, team B, you guys figure it out. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna babysit that thing. You guys go figure it out. But that's also where there's someone trying to get a leg up on the competition by using that as a way to do it. I remember we used to have, because I was the quote unquote leader of the team when we were doing these matches. I had a guy who was like, he was like our team manager. He didn't play, he didn't have a channel 13, but he was really active, and he was a kid, like he's a teenager. But he was just really into it. He did a lot of our recruiting, and he was really good at that. But he was also in all of these negotiations for like league matches, stuff like that. And like he would just nonstop like go back and forth. And I'd be in these chats, and I'd wake up and see like I had 45 messages from like 3 o'clock in the morning of him arguing with some French team on what time we're going to start the war. And I'd wake up and shake my head and be like, what are you doing? He's like, they're trying to get one over on us. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Okay. Just tell them we're going to set the war time for 24 hours because there's 30 counts. They got to do hits, right? Just set a wide timer. And in all those leagues, you could set like the timer for your war too. So if you wanted to just do all your hits in an hour and have everyone on the same time, if you agreed upon it, you could do it. And we never wanted to do that. And the teams we played against were always like, oh no, it needs to be less time. Like, no, we're not doing this because we want everyone to have to stress out and be online at the same time. Like we're gonna require a longer time. Most of those leagues have like, if there's a dispute and the two sides can't come together, there is like a fallback time. Like, all right, if you guys can't agree, then the fallback
Oh,
time is you start at this time and it lasts this long.
good idea.
Um, and there were times I remember when when I was in C2J, and they've got the player with their Fatal who's been doing everything, and it was I know Ghost Knight talked about him a couple times when he was on, but
Yeah.
he's kind of the sensei that leads everyone into battle over
Yeah.
there. Um, but even he, like, going through those negotiations is just,
He hasn't slept in 14 years. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, like
Well,
he's got to be on it, but like there's so much that goes into it, and
here's
I
here's
don't know.
here's my idea. Actually, I think this would be a good one for Supercell. Um, why not in those tournaments, right? To solve the problem of I'm guessing like you do a shorter time because they don't want you to run the base and do all these things, and you want to have a fix, like got to do it quick. Why not just implement like the tournament mode, where you could do a 16-hour war, but the minute you scout that base, it starts with 35 minutes that it needs to be hit in. So you only got 35 minutes to view it or whatever the viewing time was. And so it's like scout, and then after that, there's the clock, and after that, y then the timer goes on each of the individual bases. So you could leave it, yeah, just don't look at it, or it's gonna be
Listen, I had this idea that I pitched one time. It's one of the ideas on the podcast that has not come to fruition, but it was the idea of being able to in-game customize like tournament parameters, like even if it was just a couple of teams, um, but able to do something like it in game.
yeah,
Um, and I think generally speaking, when it comes to a tournament or some kind of organized event that's going to make like war results into some kind of bracket, Supercell would rather like someone outside the game. Just you guys organize that. Same thing from like hit timers or like
yeah,
your idea. I think Supercell's like, if you guys really want to do this, you figure out your own agreed upon rules. Even to the the I think what I was going at with like the hit times is we had several times when Fatal would be negotiating with someone for the team, and they just couldn't agree on a time. And so even he would be like, "All right, well, here's the deal, guys. Our agreed upon time, if we can't agree, like the set time, is still good for us, but it's bad for them. So no matter what, I'm just not going to agree with whatever they whatever they
yeah,
suggest, because if we go to the default time, we can show up for that war. They might not even be able to make it. And we might win by forfeit.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of moving into, well, we are moving into, geez, I can't believe it is going to be November. Town Hall 18.
Oh, God.
Have you heard anything? What are your wishes?
I've I've seen the leaks on what the new crafted defenses are going to look like. I haven't seen anything about how they're going to work.
I haven't seen that yet.
Um, but there's like I don't know how much more they can do with defenses or what new ideas they can come up with. Um, I'll tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the way in which they're merging defenses. Like I like what they do after they're merged. I just don't love the fact of giving up so many buildings, and it feels weird that like at a certain point in the game, the further you progress, the less number of buildings you have. Um, it just I don't know. It seems weird or
Well,
backwards
what are
to
the
me.
leaks so far? Is this like out there, like common knowledge, or like this is just
It's
like,
on the I follow the Clash Clan leaks page on Reddit,
oh,
so
okay.
I'll see things get thrown up there. Sometimes I'll see it and it'll be up for an hour or two and get taken down. But they've shown pictures of what the new crafted
Oh,
defenses
crafted
are
defense.
supposed to look like, and I mean that's pretty much it. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
they've kind of pictures of those have been out for a couple months now. But as far as past that, they've done a pretty good job of keeping it tight lipped. But I would assume like I don't know, as far as signature defenses, I don't know that they're going to be able to come up with something new and creative that they're not also throwing into this crafted defense feature. So I
Oh,
think
good point.
likely your signature defense at the next town hall is going to be them merging something else together to create it, and it's going to do like I don't know, it'd be something like merging two ricochet cannons together to create the extra super ricochet giant cannon or something. I don't know,
Or
something like that. But
stacking.
like,
It's stack.
yeah,
Stack two expos.
I mean, I would like. I at least think it would be interesting if there was a way to weaponize like non-traditional weaponized buildings,
The trees.
like a
The trees come on and
the
tear you down.
decorations.
Yeah.
God,
Defensive
that
decorations.
that brings me back because I originally started playing Clash because when I was younger, I was a big fan of like the Command and Conquer video games. And it's like building bases and stuff was just kind of that was always fun. But I used to play Red Alert, like that was my favorite game. In fact, I still have it downloaded on my PC and played it every once in a while. It's just nostalgic, right? But there was a tank on that game that was a Mirage tank, and it would sit in a place and it would look like a tree. And then when enemy troops got near you, it would shoot you.
That'd be cool.
So
That'd
maybe
be
like a
cool.
Mirage defense or something. I don't know. Maybe something
Yeah.
you could you
That'd be
could
awesome.
hide. I guess that's kind of like what they have with traps, though. That's kind of what Teslas are. They're you don't see them and they pop up. But maybe make like I don't know one of your army camps actually has defending troops in it, and you can't tell which one until you start attacking, or I don't know
Well,
something along those lines.
they have been playing with the army camps, right?
Yeah,
That's been one thing we've seen.
with
Um,
all of these events.
it, and what they say, the thing that sticks with me is the new mechanic mention, a new mechanic. That's why, like, when you're saying that, when you s- when you said like, what are they going to do and come up with more defenses, especially if they're having to come up with one all the time, then maybe it's something to the existing structures or,
The big change is going to be that the sixth builder hut, which is currently not a defending builder hut, is going to become a defending builder hut.
oh my God. Could you imagine? Oh, Oh man.
You'd be that kid on A Christmas Story opening the present and seeing the pink bunny suit.
Yeah.
Like, open it up. What is it? Sixth builder defending sixth builder? And like, hold it up for everyone. I don't want
I suppose
to.
they're feeling a lot of pressure probably by this point. You know, as you get closer to it to be like this, but we've seen the controllable heroes this year. Um so
And I think the controllable heroes, like that's a good like side mission thing, but that
yeah,
should never be part of the main game. Um, I've heard a lot of talk from different places about like, oh, they're gonna add another hero. Um, which I mean I would be fine with.
they should do
I
one
don't
a
know.
year. I
Yeah.
almost feel like
Well, I think they don't want to like they've never ripped the bandit off and just said you can attack with heroes whenever. But they added a fifth hero, even though you can only use four to kind of say you can have one
um
upgrading all the time, right?
yeah.
Well, if you have two extra heroes, well then you could have two upgrading all the time. And I feel like they've gone so far out of their way to just not give you the ability to use heroes while they're upgrading for so long that adding another hero just to kick the can down the road of never letting you use heroes while they're upgrading, like that feels like a very Supercell move to make. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're going to protect the economy around buying hero books because we're just going to give them an additional hero and they can upgrade it. But also, if you want that new hero to be at the top level, buy these damn hero books. Okay, guys.
We did see the army. It was the rework of the Clan Castle. That was this year, right? The Clan Castle, the troop thing. It wasn't it wasn't 2024.
The rework as far as
Like the army recipes, and I think that was the spring, right? It's
oh,
hard to remember. It's like it feels like a long time ago, but it must have been in the spring. Uh, I'm just trying to think that all the different mechanics that they've kind of introduced or reworked a little bit this year to kind of if they're going to introduce a new mechanic to Town Hall 18, maybe there's a little bit of a hint from
is
how
it is
they've
that
been.
just a is that just a spoiler for where we're going to introduce the ninth siege machine?
Oh, oh, I didn't
It would
even
also
think
be
about
it would
that.
also be a very Supercell thing to like drop a teaser like that for something that ends up being a very insignificant part of the next town hall.
Oh yeah. Oh man. I hope that there's a little bit done with the clan capital. It, just something, just to
Clan Capital
anything.
is just it's up there collecting dust.
Yeah,
It's just
even just like a daily raid or kind of making it something you could play a little bit more on your own, I think would be really nice. I don't know about you can leave the builder, the
listen,
village.
I the thing that frustrates me about Clan Capital is the most enjoyable like playing of that category was when they had just released the what is it a graveyard spell, the one with all the
Oh, yeah,
skeletons that come up. And even like after their first nerf, like that was just really strong. But it like in my opinion, it just created a very like visually pleasing way to go through a base because the way they spawned and the way they moved, like if you played it right, you could swarm parts of like the capital hall or the different whatever they're called. And as with anything else, like when it gets too much fun, Supercell nerfs it and says, you guys are having too much fun, go away." And when that went away, they went to, now it's just drop all of the super miners and freeze some stuff, which is effective on most attacks, but it's just
yeah.
it's boring. And like the people who do the best at Clan Capital, like it's so few people that actually care, and that's just the mechanism now. And I don't know that making it easier or changing things is really gonna
I think they should
do
give
much to it.
everybody a base to add to your thing, or like combine different pieces so that way you can. So it kind of shows like that the clan is working together, that each person um, can contribute, because I don't like the way that uh, it would be nice if everybody had their own to be able to, or at least to customize one base
Yeah.
like in there,
I mean,
because
that's they definitely thought that was gonna be part of it when they created it. It's just in true Clash community fashion, we have found ways to work around the teamwork aspect as much as possible.
yeah.
And now Clan Capital, that's the attacks on the weekend where you drop your troops, close the app, and then restart it, so you don't have to watch
I
the attack actually happen.
still have never done that. I'm afraid like I'm gonna lose.
Never.
No,
Wait, you
I've
mean
lost.
your buddy Liam hasn't talked you into that yet?
No,
You know you know that, like, because 'cause he's got, like, 100 and whatever accounts. Like, he's doing capital raids on all of them every weekend, and that's the only way time-wise he can do it, is he drops all the troops, the spells, force closes the app, opens it back up. So instead of having to watch all 3 minutes of the attack, it's like 30 seconds, drop, reopen, next one, drop, reopen, next one, and just in
holy
rapid
crap!
succession.
It takes
That's how
all
he does it.
Sunday.
Yeah, all basically. He's got a little bit of time left over for prayer afterwards, but yeah, other than that, he's just force closing the game over and over.
Sabbath. Uh, any troops you're hoping for? Any tech
Listen,
diff?
I hope at least something that I don't know creates a little more variety. I don't need another air troop. I've never like I did air attacks. I never enjoyed air attacks, even when they were good. Even like when Hydra was really strong. Like I never enjoyed doing it. So I don't want another air troop. Something ground, something that could replace some of the root rider monotonous. But damn it, I think that the throwers were just a dud. Like
Really?
they suck. I can't stand the thrower. He just and that he never's throwing it at the right thing. He just no matter how much you funnel, he's gonna find some random building that's not where you want him to go. He's gonna walk over here slowly and throw it at the wrong building.
Well, MVP uh, was using them, and a couple other people were using them in the clan. I was trying them for a while. I think there's potential there. And he was saying that now in Legend, or getting up there, like with the multiplier, or whatever it's called, um, that they're just not. They're kind of running out of steam.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I felt like it
here's
was a missed. I mean, I think the troop would be awesome. I think it just there's certain things that it just almost cancels it out when it gets stuck on a wall.
yeah.
Like, oh, I don't know how it
Well,
gets
listen,
through a defense if it can do that.
every time every time I get too far down a conversation or a thought on a particular troop, I remind myself that throughout each town hall and each experience, there's been someone out there who can make just about any troop work. Like I remember when I was covering competitive esports, there was a guy on this Indian team who he ran nothing but Inferno Dragons almost every war, and there were plenty of esports matches where he was the only guy tripling, and no one else was using Inferno Dragons. He just found a way to use it. There was a guy on one of these teams that
Oh,
always ran like a Queen Charge with like mass Valks, and no one else was using Valkyries back then, and he just always found a way to work because he practiced that, and that was kind of
yeah.
his thing, his go-to. So yeah, you can make throwers work, especially in the meta, but is it ever going to be as easy to use as the Root Riders or like the Super Yetis? No, not near as easy to get to work as those two. So I guess like in and of itself, like is the thrower a throwaway troop? Not necessarily, but is the signature troop from Town of 17, is it as viable as some of the other ones? Not even close.
Good point. Yeah, I didn't think about it as being the signature, really. I mean, just and considered it like that. And I suppose ice block would be the the spell. I was just playing with that, which was
Never used it.
it's I could really see I can see it coming in, and I can see that people might that it might be really valuable down the road because there's almost even in like place of overgrowth or it's to steer. I was trying to work it with the RC charge
Okay.
a little bit because I was kind of adapting what Swim was doing, and but what I did is I put in like I was still running 2 invises because I was like, I can get this thing in there. So then I was putting the ice block on it and to try to get the RC to be in just one spot, longer. Um, I need some work, but I mean, like, I just got to figure out what needs to happen or where it needs to be. But I could see it at times being really valuable, like if you've got your army going this way, or you need something to burn through, but it's almost like you just need to see it in action where somebody's really the cat. Awesome.
This is the second interrupting cat.
That looked like a James Bond
Yeah.
cat.
See, the other one is still
Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun, dun-dun, dun. Aw. How many cats do you have?
5.
5? Oh, got 2 puppies.
I have 40% of the cat population is in the office with me.
They're all grown in.
Well, I listen. I watched some videos on the ice block spell, and I definitely think the most common successful use of it is sending the what was it, the lava hound in and freezing at a spot where it would sit and soak
Oh,
up defense for a while, and using that with some air attacks. Like I saw that work really successfully quite a few times. Um, and if you're workshopping, an attack strategy, I think there's plenty of times that you can strategize a good use for it. However, it's just, it's not, I don't think it's ever going to be one that's going to just work its way in every attack
yeah,
versus like, a rage, right? Or even like a freeze spell to some extent. Like there's some of those that are just one, there's a lot more history with them, but two, there's just more like last minute good uses for it. Like
yeah,
if you don't have a plan for the ice block spell, you're not going to just find a reason organically in an attack to need to use it. So I think its usefulness is very nuanced.
I'm gonna
Um,
try to run some furnace mites through it and see what happens. Because
who knows?
what if those things were coming through there and then all of a sudden they took 2 hits and they started to overwhelm and then it wears off and then you've got to these are just the things I sit around and think about. Like,
If you could ice block enough of them, like maybe you got like multiple ones that came out,
the
so like they stayed in spot and they let the ones coming after it kind of catch up to it,
yeah,
so that when the ice block spell wore off, there was a whole bunch of them there all hitting at the same time.
yeah,
And my concern with that would be the same reason why you don't want to put like 4 or 5 furnaces down the same spots because if you only need 2 or 3 of those mites to take down a building, well, you don't want 6 of them targeting because then the other 3 are just a waste, right?
but it
You've
looked cool.
overkilled the building. Yeah, well, I've always thought overkill looked cool.
Yeah,
That's why I used to love witch attacks because again, like the visual of just a ton of little skeletons just overwhelming and overpowering defenses. Like I've always thought that was the funnest thing to watch.
wouldn't it maybe it'd work awesome with witches. If you like,
Maybe.
if that idea did pan out, and it just could be like nothing, right? Like, and of course you've got the mortars, but imagine if a skeleton even if it took instead of 1, it took 2. with the ice block. Even if you had like a bunch coming in, it would almost be like a cologne in a sense, but it would only be for just a few seconds, I guess.
Well, and here's the deal with doing anything like that, especially like the small HP offensive troops, is there's so much splash damage on the
Yeah.
board now. Like you do all that to get a whole bunch of extra skeletons in the same place, and then one damn scatter shot hit, and
Yeah.
they're all gone. It's
Yeah.
bye bye.
I was thinking like if you could do it as add it in as a more utilitarian. Like, okay, if it doesn't work out here, I'll use it for this, or I can find my king's gonna get in here and then I can do it or hold off on the end. Maybe it just saves you in the end more often with like on the hero recall, right? Like this last attack, if I would have had that one ice block and two revives, I could bring the one back, ice block them, and then the next one. You know what I'm saying? Like, or then revive the other one, which is the problem I sometimes am running. But then they're slow. Oh yeah, I guess targeting. Yeah.
I have this real complex right now about when am I going to take the recall or the revive spell for that RC walk or the RC charge because inevitably whichever one I take ends up being the wrong one. So like if I take the
Yeah.
recall, I lose her and she dies too fast and I'm like, damn it, now what am I gonna recall? Or if I take the revive one, she ends up going down in a spot where like I'm never gonna want to recall her there. She's right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
She's just gonna die again real fast. Like I should have taken the recall and pulled her out of there. Damn it.
Maybe I
But
should
that also
try to do one recall in the three. Hmm. I don't know. You got me thinking.
I I have at least like my what I enjoy doing now. I don't even say what works for me because it only works intermittently. And based off today's war tax, I should be saying it's not working for me. But taking the recall because then if I miss it on the RC, which I did a couple times this morning, just completely let her die and then went, ah
Yeah.
crap, I should have recalled before she died. Um, is it? I'll bring a blimp with some Yetis in it, so I'll send it in to get something key, like maybe some defenses are gonna mess up the pathing or even the town hall, but I'll throw them in, and as soon as they get whatever I want down, then I'll recall the Yetis, and then go put
Oh.
them somewhere else more useful. That's an old Wizard of Woo trick that he used to do back in the day with the super archer blimp. There was a time when everyone would just drop a blimp, bunch of super archers, clone them up, have them scatter shooting everywhere. He would do this E Titan attack where he would do that, and then the last bit after their last shot before the last invisibility wore off, he would recall a whole bunch of them, and then he would drop them back behind his E Titans on the attack. And I
Ooh.
was always like, "You're dropping the blimp to kill everything, and then recalling the troops from that?" It's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm doing." Shit.
That's awesome.
Woo.
Yeah. I love experimenting with those things.
I just
Obviously, I
realized
can't quite
I
get in.
missed a golden opportunity to formally refer to him as the master of woo.
Oh my God.
That's what I should have.
Oh, I still feel so bad about that. Oh, such an idiot sometimes.
I laughed for a good hour after that one.
You
I
know,
only said it
you
because,
have
like,
no
when
idea how many times that happens to me on a daily basis where then when I make a mistake like that, it gets stuck right in my head where I'm constantly paranoid about it, and then I'm messing it up because I'm doing that.
do you have
Which
that
was what
moment
was
where you
happening that day because I was like, beforehand, I kept mixing up the names for some reason, because I was reading some stuff and I was just like, "Oh, that was
you
rough."
wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning in bed and you sit there and you
Sweating.
wake up and you're like, "Master of God damn
I hope he knows. I hope he knows. Why did I?
So, and what's funny is in my early interactions with the guys at C2J, like I knew of Woo, like I had listened to his podcast a couple of times. I had never paid enough attention to actually like see his name in writing because I was an idiot. The first time I ever like addressed him, I spelled it WU because I thought he was.
Oh,
I thought I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Is he Oriental or Asian? Is Wu? Like I didn't realize it was WOO. So I had my own like master of Wu like mistake, but I don't think anyone ever noticed it. So I just played it off like, oh, that was just a typo. I totally
you
didn't
got
realize it
you
was
got the
spelled.
tattoo in Chinese.
Yeah.
Show off to him.
So no one knows what the symbol is, so that's fine. That's fine.
Of course. You want to do shout outs?
Shout outs, man. A lot of people since I haven't been on podcast in a while, but my old buddy Congressman Cool Rick, who I told him a couple weeks ago, like, hey, I think I might record with Scotty, and he was like, "Thank God, dude." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You haven't recorded anything in forever," and I'm like, "Yes, I don't do podcasts anymore." It'll be good to hear you on again. So appreciate the words of encouragement from him, and then um, really just the Clash of Clans podcast community in general is
Yeah.
is a good group. It's a tight knit group. I like to joke and think that like the support is like everyone just listening to everyone else's podcasts. So it's like how many listeners do you have? Like I don't know how many other podcasts are there right now. That's who's listening to mine. Um, but then along in that the Clash of Clan podcast super fan who I'll always shout out, old GCBC, the gift that keeps on giving. He's done so much for Clash podcasts like over
Yeah.
the years, just bringing people together and keeping things going. And he was one of those guys when we started recording, like he was giving advice and pointers. So he's a good dude. Then just everyone else. Old Ghost Knight, I was talking to him in Discord. He's got a
That's
server
cool.
going right now, but he's still out there. But he's not really playing anymore, but he's at least around. So miss playing with him. He was always a good guy. And then the other former, you know, hosts and future hosts and all the others out there. Just Clash of Clans podcast, a good community and good
As,
group.
as you
And
start talking about that, it's like, oh yeah, we could have a whole shout out section like for the next hour about
you're like,
because you
man,
just
these
went
guys talk
we
forever and
only
ever,
talked about
even
one
their
podcast so far, just moved on to the second one. Yeah.
Well, I guess on that note, I'll say just to everyone else in Clash Clan podcast. So thank you everyone for the support. Everyone who reached out after I quit and said, "Hey, we really appreciate what you did." Tip Dog was one of those. He sent me a really nice message after I stopped recording, said how much he liked the last podcast. So I miss him and everyone else too. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll find enough free time to do it again. I do miss it. I miss podcasting, but maybe one day. That's all I'll say. Maybe one day.
Sometimes it's like, yeah, if it's like an all or nothing thing, you just have to wait till you're ready to like so you have the time to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
In the same breath, like if I do it again, I want to do it the way I always wanted to do it, right? Like
yeah,
the last one I did, honestly, like I love my co-host on that show to death, but if I had to do over again, like those are not guys who wanted to do the same podcast I wanted to do. So,
yeah,
I want to find like someone or someone to do it with who's got the same ideas, right?
yeah,
Like I said, I love Clash Fan 9. Like he's the illegitimate younger brother I never wanted. But at the same time, like his idea of what's fun for a podcast of mine, they're just different.
yeah.
So, I'd want to find someone um, who wanted to do some of the same things, talk about things the same way that I did, just to make it easier.
We were kind of talking about that before we started about how cool it was, like as you listen to the different podcasters and like you hear that those different approaches and like what people are like looking for out of the game and um that part is just so interesting to me because we all come to it and like want something else and like our idea of fun and competition is different. So it's really cool to see like how everybody else does it. And I think the other podcasters or community is just it's great. And so if you're out there and you're listening, I mean, any of the podcast communities are great because they're like linking together and doing competitions with one another, and it is fun in a crazy world to have a good place to hang for sure.
Like-minded individuals.
Yeah. Hell bent on war.
Well, on war and other crazy shenanigans that go around with it.
Yeah.
Like a whole bunch of Town Hall 9s just slapping each other over and over
Are
again.
you doing that?
I don't have a Town Hall 9. Although I guess I could farm one, have one in a couple weeks probably, but
Oh
I
yeah.
don't have
Yeah,
one.
but yeah, we were talking about the Halloween event, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
At uh I don't even know where it's at. It was in the CFF server.
Yeah, I think that's well, listen, everything Town Hall 9, like, that's, Kat, she loves Town Hall 9, and a lot of the other people over there, like, they've got some people that are just down they're really good members of the community that they just Town Hall 9 is their go-to forever and ever, so,
And
um
surprisingly, I have a Town Hall 9 to use this time. So I'm like, yeah,
how is it just so
is
happens?
it just and I almost thought I had Britney Spears back, my old account. And I don't think I did. I gotta double check that. I forgot about an email address. That would have been the recover email address, but the email didn't send yet. So I gotta double check that.
If you want the long, drawn out spiel on how to get it back from Supercell's help and support, I can share it with you. Mind you, and I know that account's been gone forever. It's gonna take a long time.
Yeah. I
Essentially, you're gonna have to have a device that you just keep open and don't let it lock for a long time because they take so long to respond, especially if you have multiple accounts.
oh
Like, you can't risk, like, the screen going away and then you open up the game and all of a sudden you're talking to them again and they recognize it from a different account. Then because then you just got to start all over again. It's
well, I can imagine that conversation with support going, "Hi, I'm Britney Spears." Well, no, it's my account, Britney Spears
I
trademark. Well, I mean, you could take
listen.
the trademark off.
I'm the person who represents Britney Spears. Honestly, that's
Britney needs her account back. Oh,
leave
that's yeah.
leave Britney alone.
It was just it's like, oh man. We all though there's a rash of name changes at the time. It was like the first time you could ever change names and but maybe one day she'll just show up. I thought, let me check this email. I think I got it. I'm just gonna slide into L as Britney Spears again. Uh, but no. So
Listen, it would be a very Clash podcast like thing to happen. For now, someone's going to show up in the clan with an account named Britney
yeah.
Spears and just show up now, and just be like, "Is that it? Is that it?" No, that's a different
That
Britney.
was was it failed login. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Other shout outs.
Uh,
Did
gosh,
you
too many names that have been on one forever. But I'll just leave it at the Clash Clan podcast, and then the other guys in House of L have been doing great. And everyone, running out of your other co-hosts who hop on from time to time. I think Swim does a really good job when he's
yeah.
on. And it really just the whole group. I'm really excited you had the Pineapples and Thorns team on because Kat's been doing a great job for a long time, and I've always loved her podcast. So
Me
happy to
too.
see you integrating with everyone else. So
Yeah,
that's
me
been a lot of
too.
fun. So
And
shout out to
it's
them.
wild too about how long it has been. When did we first talk about doing one? Like back in February or March, didn't we?
It was a while ago. Yeah, it was.
And you
It
said
was
you were
definitely a while
busy or
ago.
whatnot at the time. So yeah, that's the wild thing is like just how fast the time is going. So I really look forward to connecting with everybody and just getting to know everybody better too. Because it's those competitions are fun and it's cool to hang with people away from being in podcast public, I guess.
And our buddy Liam, who I mentioned a couple
Yeah,
times, Liam,
that was a
Liam, who I met Liam years ago. One day you'll have to force him to tell you about playing this game called Gartic Phone on Discord. That used to be an old like get together we used to do. So there's this Discord game you can play through video chat that's called Gartic Phone, and
I think you
it
mentioned that
turned.
before. So.
I want him to have to tell it because
Yeah.
I've never laughed so hard in my life from sessions of playing Gartic Phone with some of the old guys from God Magic Knob who's over at C2J. He was always a good one. My buddy Steve, I don't even know if he's listening to podcasts anymore, but Steve out in New Orleans, he was always good on there. My old coach, Clash Fan 9, who always drew members of the male anatomy on every stick figure he made on Gartic Phone. That was part of his
Yeah.
go-to. Um, but those guys, that was fun, and that was the first time I met Liam was when he hopped on voice chat with us and played Gartic Phone. So
Yeah.
it'd
I
be interesting to hear his take on playing that.
I had the best time meeting him, and it was a really good Labor Day weekend, like a nice end of the summer, and um, talking with those guys and whatnot, and seeing like this competition come up. And I know I talk about it, but I know the winter's still busy, but it is. I think some of the best time for Clash because it's you're forced to be inside at least up here in the north, anyways. So
Yeah, we don't have that problem where I'm at. We're still warm.
yeah, I bet. Uh, Shout out to other podcasters. Shout out to some of the new guys and Al, uh, Neon, Zombie, and Vasya. And I'm always forgetting these right in the moment every time. Uh, it's fun to see some new people coming in and hitting and when our clan makeup changes a little bit and the wars kind of adapt. It's just fun to see. And so now we're gearing up for CWL, which is
Guess I
always
should
a
shout out. I
fun
should
fest.
shout out O Porcupine too
Oh
because
yeah.
a- after my first failed CWL attack, of course he was like, "Hey B, if you want an idea on how to do attack that doesn't suck, you try this one." And I'm like, "All right, I get it. I need to put a little effort into this. I got it.
Yeah,
I'll do something else."
having him and some of the other new guys that have come in like within the last few months. It is awesome to get to see people who approach bases different, approach tax different, and anytime newer people come in like that or um, membership changes a little bit, it kind of refreshes it and like forces you to hit in different ways, and that's where I learn a lot. So I just think about when he joined, along with like Griffin and people. I'm like, wow, yeah, because I was used to hitting this person's base over and over, and they like this style. So
Listen, there's nothing that burned me out of like, hey, stop just dropping it all in one place and actually think a little bit about it. Then getting a 1 star on day one of CWL and having someone just suggest, "Hey, have you thought about watching a video on how to attack, man?" Oh god, I've gotten to that level. I should definitely put a little effort into it now.
were your eyes open? No.
Yeah. Have,
Don't close
have
your
you
eyes when you
considered?
hit. Oh, it's always the worst when something like that happens. So,
I
uh,
still even like the as much as I don't want to take it seriously, like if I have a 1 star in a even like just in a ranked hit or something like that, like I just want to close the game and like throw it across the room right now. Just I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Stupid game.
gonna let this affect my self esteem. Just put it away slowly.
Yeah.
What out this week? Um, Shout out to you for being here. Thank you. It's fun to catch up. I know we got to chat like one night. We've been good about staying off of line, as you said. So, um, so it's cool to catch up and kind of hear about everything, and hopefully you'll come back and in the future. So
Definitely. I think I told you I have a family free day at some point in time in the future. So,
we'll have
that's
to do
there's always a possibility. We'll do
maybe
episode
we
2.
should do a raise funds for what is it, like a 24-hour marathon, podcast marathon to raise funds for
Listen, if you really wanna go there, we'll do a Twitch stream, and we'll just call it a subathon, and as long as people keep donating, to the podcast through the Twitch channel, we'll just keep talking. 'Cause Lord knows I could
Christmas
just keep
spirit.
talking.
It's like oh, I gotta say this one last thing. Huge movie recommendation. The Long Road that just came out. I think it's a Stephen King story. It was out on digital. We bought it the other night. It is really good. Like
I have
I
to,
really like that one. So
so my wife is a really big Stephen King fan.
it sticks with you.
And even listen, there's some things that they put in cinema form that worked out, and some that, quite frankly, I don't know why they did. And she seems to like all of them. So
And it's not a scary one, but it's suspenseful, and it sticks with you for sure. I'm excited. I'm glad that I bought it.
well, they've done some good adaptations of his stuff. What was the one they made into an HBO series a couple years ago? It was a Stephen King book. Oh God, the Outsider. Is that it?
Oh
Did you ever watch that? It was like a
no, but
miniseries on HBO. It was like
I
6 or 7 parts.
I didn't. But if I would have known it was Stephen King, I might have.
It was really good. Like what they did on screen was really good with it. I'd
Yeah,
recommend. In fact, my wife and I we watched it when it was coming on, and then we went back and rewatched it, binged it the second time. It was that good.
and I'll check that out now. I mean, this one, a little nervous. I don't want to get anything. Um, I'm nervous about what I would find in watching it. Like I'm particular about certain types of movies I don't like, and uh, it I can't stop really thinking about it. Kind of nuts. So very good. Well, until next time, get a hold of us at Clash of Clans Podcast at gmail.com or clashclanspodcast.com or find us in the House of L. Uh, keep it clashy, everybody.
Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.